Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's John from Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, this time with the review of Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you're enjoying on the channel. Let us know if there's anything you'd like us to be reviewing. And with that, Obi-Wan 5, best episode yet so far. Every episode has been great. They're kind of mirroring like the episodes of the actual original of the trilogies. So the first three were kind of episodes 1 through 3, and it seems like these are next ones have kind of been episode 4 and 5 as far as their like thematic elements, and that's been really cool. We're just getting Vader in his prime, and that is amazing. This is definitely the best one yet, though. I loved everything about this episode. It was very action-packed. Definitely love where this is going. They're answering questions too that have probably been on the tip of your tongue, or some things have been like, how does that make sense? How is that going to fit in the timeline? They're answering them, especially on this one. With that being said, spoiler alert, because we're getting into those. Man, this episode starts off with a bang. We get basically a flashback to just before, I think, episode 2, because we get young Anakin Skywalker and younger Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin doesn't have his arm cut off yet, and he has good on them for keeping him canon. They have his original lightsaber from that time, and it shows them kind of like sparring, kind of like I don't know if it's him going through the trials or if he's like if it's just like Jedi training, but it's really cool. Him and Anakin like having a throwback, so that's really cool. We see Obi-Wan arrive on Jabim, and Vader then shows up in his Star Destroyer. The whole episode's cut through with that flashbacks of that training between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and it's really cool to see that interweaves. It's kind of like they're both remembering things. But Obi-Wan's definitely getting his groove back, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Leia has a little help in this story because when they get there, Lola, she was the tracking device that helped them find and follow them where they were going, and Lola has like kind of sealed off the doors in there so they can't fly off and escape again, so they think they've got him. So Leia is going to try to go into the smaller crawl space to help get the door open. In the meantime, Reva comes down with a bunch of troopers. They're going to launch an attack, and to kind of stall the attack, Obi-Wan's like, hey, I'm gonna try to talk to her, and that's where they start answering questions. Reva, was it that Padawan, one of the ones we saw at the beginning? Why does she know who Anakin and Vader are the same person? That's because she saw Anakin come into the temple and murder her friends in front of her, and then she pretended to be dead. That was really dark and depressing, but cool to see a little bit more of Order 66, and they do not hesitate. There was even a warning at the beginning of this one, like some scenes maybe disturbing to people in the context of Star Wars, and seeing more of Anakin go to the dark side, it was incredible. So then Obi-Wan realizes like, oh, okay, so you've kind of been under the radar of this all whole time, and you basically are wanting to get back at Vader. So he's like, well, technically we can do this together. And she's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Why don't you just worry about yourself? You didn't come to save us anyway, so what do you know? So then they start the attack. We got a little bit of battle back and forth. Unfortunately, Tala and Ned, the robot, die, but they die in defending, so the other guys can get away back into the main hangar area. So they're kind of closed off. Obi-Wan tries to buy him some time. He turns himself in, and he's like, hey, I'm turning myself in, but this is so you can take out Anakin. So we both want the same end goal here. We need to stop this. And she's like, well, how do you think he's not going to see this coming? And Obi-Wan's like, well, because he's only going to see me, because he's blinded by everything. And they're kind of tying that in with the flashbacks of the training and stuff, and kind of showing Anakin's very amazing skills with lightsaber, but he's very focused on winning. And so he, there's some side things that he's missing and seeing. And that's one of the things that Obi-Wan says in the fight with Anakin, is that he's blinded by wanting to win. There are other ways to do that other than being aggressive. It's really cool to see that back and forth there. Kind of just wrapping up, they're able to get the doors open, so they're all trying to gather to escape. Vader comes down to the surface, and he starts force opening doors to get into where they are. And this is one of the most badass parts of this episode. Vader enters the room just as the ship's about to take off, and as it's leaving through the door, Vader uses the force to pull the ship down back in to the base, and he holding it, straining it, and then it finally comes down, and then he rips the ship open with the Force to get to Obi-Wan and pull the people out, but it was a ploy, and another ship flies off from behind that one, and Reva attacks Vader, but Vader sees it coming, and she's like chopping at him with her lightsaber, and he doesn't even take his out. He is just either dodging him or blocking it with the Force. It's a really badass scene. Vader gets her lightsaber from her, breaks it in half, and throws her one like he's gonna like be like, let's see what you got, kid, or whatever. And so they go at it. She's not really even a challenge for him. And he basically is like, oh yeah, you didn't think I saw this coming too? Like, I know that you were one of those younglings from the temple. So she's lying in defeat, and Vader stabs her. He doesn't like go up for like the kill. But then right at that time, the Grand Inquisitor walks in. They leave her there to die. I'm really excited though. I'm sure we're going to get that final climactic thing with Vader and Obi-Wan, so that's going to be badass. I've really enjoyed Reva's character throughout all of this. Probably much the only reason she was probably gone to the dark side is because she was thinking of revenge on Vader. So I really enjoyed this episode. By far one of the best. This whole series has been fantastic. One of my favorite Star Wars things that Disney has done, obviously next to The Mandalorian. So yeah, I'm excited for the last episode. So with that, we'll see you on the next one.